So I'm going to continue this, I guess, topic zigzag and go back to something you brought up earlier, Jared, and that is sort of tied to what you were just ending on, and that is the expanded unemployment insurance benefit for COVID-19. From what I understand, the $600 amount was selected in part because it was just too difficult and complicated to get all the state programs where they needed to be to make everyone whole. So the federal policy was just here's the flat amount in addition so that we can, get the relief in that we needed. And now there's questions as to whether that amount should stay as high as $600. I think we're all on the same page here in saying that that benefit needs to continue in some capacity at least. But where do you fall, and what are your thoughts on what level or what figure that expanded benefit should be, and whether tapering off of it should be tied to any kind of economic measure?
I'm not particularly inspired to get into any kind of tapering or sort of policy jujitsu to help get that back in line. I mean, the major objection to the $600 plus up, which is not a crazy objection, was that there are a lot of people, actually about 2/3 of recipients, who can make more on UI, on unemployment insurance, than they can from work. And so that's a big work disincentive. However, you've got to have work to have a work disincentive. And right now we have an 11% unemployment rate, and lots of places where, this very unforgiving, and lots of places where the job market is just this extremely unforgiving game of musical chairs with way too many people and way too few chairs or jobs. And so I have no problem with a plussed up benefit, say through the end of the year or something like that, and then revisiting this. But for those who do, and I'm sympathetic to the argument, what you'd like to do is tie that $600 to state or even local economic conditions, and have the plus up come down as job opportunities go up. And there are such ideas floating around the Senate right now. Unfortunately, they haven't gotten a lot of love, but I think they should.
So it sounds like there are two major factors here. One you pointed out was we've got to tackle this health crisis. We've got to tackle the virus. Two, it sounds like we need to get more jobs in the market. So what can Congress do? What can policymakers do to encourage an increase in available jobs at this point? Or is it really just not a lot can be done until we, again, get through the virus?
I'm pretty much in the latter camp there. I mean, even if you tell people, even if you're one of these governors who tell people, don't worry, throw away your mask, go out and have fun, and even some of those governors are backpedaling, people won't do it. I mean, the evidence is quite clear on this. It's not just official restrictions, it's natural human fear of this invisible microbe. And, I'm sympathetic to that. So without doing much better virus control, I just don't think the economy is going to come back in earnest. I do think, however, that there are lots of so-called essential businesses and commerce. I mean, it's true that I haven't gone out to eat in a long time, but I certainly have been buying a lot of groceries and watching a lot of Netflix and so on. So there are businesses that are really prospering right now, and I think it's important for people to have money in their pocket to pay for their food and their rent, and that's why these relief packages need to keep coming. And in fact, some people call them intentionally relief packages versus stimulus packages, because you're kind of relieving people's income constraints versus the sort of classical stimulus where you're engaging in lots of job creation.
I'm in that camp. I prefer to think of it as something other than stimulus, because I look forward to a day when the economy can be stimulated. But right now there are more fundamental issues at play that we've been talking about.
So, Jared, it sounds like, and I agree with you, there's going to be some monumental changes throughout the economy, probably even the workforce. Once we get past, I guess, treading water, providing relief and getting to the point of stimulus and growth, what kind of long-term focused economic policies are you hoping Congress will start engaging in?
I think the key theme there is resiliency to shocks. What I mean by that is that I see an economy not just the US economy, I see European economies in the same boat, and even China to some extent, buffeted by fundamental shocks to the system. These could be 100-year floods that happen every 2 years. This could be a pandemic, of course. This could be pervasive inequality, racial injustice, um, what some economists call secular stagnation, meaning just weak economies that persist even into an expansion. These could be the absence of quality employment for lots of low-wage people. These could be industries that are missing. I don't think we, as I suggested, we're not doing enough in the clean energy space. We have a huge hole in our economy where there should be a child care sector. Education is another piece. So our economy, in my view, is highly unresilient, if that's a word. Our economy is highly non-resilient to shocks. It gets thrown for a massive loop regularly now. I mean, we bailed out the finance sector a decade ago, and look what we're doing. Bob and I are just talking about bailing out other large sectors now. That ain't the way it ought to be. So I think we need a set of structural changes, which I can articulate, to enhance the economy's resilience. These are not just a stronger safety net or something Bob is very sympathetic with, a more amply funded federal sector. These also have to do with missing industries. I mentioned childcare, but also clean energy. And I think significant interventions in the trading space as well. We need to onshore some supply chains that are now offshore. So there are a lot of structural changes that need to be made to boost our resilience.